Matt, just ahead of 6:32 now on this Friday. A U.S. District Court judge grants a request by tribes and conservation groups to stop grizzly bear hunts in Wyoming and Idaho. The request for a temporary restraining order and preliminary injunction was filed on Thursday. MTN's Dennis Bragg continues to follow the story.
U.S. District Court Judge Dana Christensen is being asked to overturn the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service decision to remove the Yellowstone grizzlies off the list of threatened species, turning management to the states. The bears would still be protected inside Yellowstone and Grand Teton National Parks, but Wyoming and Idaho are already planning limited hunts outside the parks. This week, critics held press conferences and demonstrated outside the federal courthouse complaining grizzlies would be slaughtered, reversing years of recovery. Inside, attorneys complained the feds abandoned reason with glaring deficiencies in science, leaving state plans that create new threats to bears that didn't exist before, especially with increasing conflicts with people. They condemn the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service for taking a damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead approach.
But all the scientific papers are all pointing in one direction, that you got to have thousands, not hundreds of bears. And there's no scientific dispute on that in the peer-reviewed literature. And that was the point we tried to make. They might be okay over the next several decades, but that's not recovery under the statute. Long-term recovery is more like 50 plus, 100 plus years. And that's what the science is, I think, consistently saying you need more bears.
Certainly, we think it's really important for the service to decide the fate of Yellowstone bears based on current science, not science that's stale at this point.
As with any endangered species lawsuit, case law becomes increasingly important. At this morning's hearing, we heard about everything from marbled murrelet to Arctic grayling to wolves, as both sides try to convince Judge Christensen of their opposing viewpoints. State and federal attorneys argue grizzly numbers are improving, which is something to celebrate. That, quote, the bears are doing great. They say bears would remain under the watchful eye of the Interagency Grizzly Bear Committee, and further, delisting allows biologists to focus recovery on the Bitterroot, Northern Divide, and the Cabinet Yaak, addressing the connectivity question of where bears wander and building public support for recovery.
Well, I think people are watching the case very closely, but my comments on public support is that it may not be universal. For some people it's support, some people it's tolerance, but it's absolutely essential if we're going to have bears on the landscape over the long run in Montana. We need to maintain it, we need to cultivate it.
It feels historic, and the defendants, made, I think, a really weak case saying people are tired of it and they want it to be over. Yeah, we get to get tired, but we have to do the job right. And the feds got caught cutting the corners.
In Missoula, Dennis Bragg, MTN News.
Now, Judge Christensen's decision to issue the temporary restraining order gives him at least 14 days to make a final ruling. However, some hunters have been waiting decades for this opportunity, and for outfitters in the area, this ruling is the exact opposite of what they had hoped for. CBS's Stan Bush talked to one outfitter who says Wyoming's call is for the best.
Wyoming's backcountry is untamed.
Typical hunts are 7 total days.
It's where Taylor Ingham makes his living, saddling horses and packing mules to take hunters into the wild.
I became an outfitter because I wanted to share this place with people from all over the country.
Around this time, Ingham is usually focused on elk season. But this year, he's one of only a handful of outfitters that has been licensed to hunt for grizzly bears.
This is definitely core grizzly habitat. A lot of bears live in this valley.
This land saw grizzlies thrive, then go nearly extinct, and now return to the point where Wyoming officials say grizzlies can be hunted again.
So we're going to set up our spot and scope, and we're going to start glassing some of these ridges and these open meadows.
A ridge below tree line is where Ingham says he'll make plans for hunting the bears.
We'll probably just be looking for, a bear that's traveling or just moving across a hillside.
Ingham knows the grizzlies are out there. His game cameras have frequent close encounters with them. Ingham's game cameras saw up close bears we only saw traces of. Still, outfitters say they're taking a risk dedicating so much to the hunt.
Possible that they're out here for 10 days and they don't get one?
It is possible. The hunt depends so much on the weather and the time of year.
But the hunt coincides with elk season, attaching it to controversy. Hunters say a bear will likely find where an elk had been killed and gutted within a day. Baiting is outlawed, but sitting on a kill and waiting for a bear to come is legal.
One of the techniques that I think a bear hunter would use is to follow birds.
Opponents worry this hunt will be a slaughter. Ingham and supporters say it's a part of conservation and he's not optimistic about his chances.
If there's no cost benefit to doing this, why do it?
I believe that we should hunt grizzly bears because they're part of the ecosystem. They have an effect on elk. Elk has an effect on them.
Hunters say while there may only be about 700 grizzlies in the region, they're concentrated in an area that's unhealthy for the rest of the ecosystem, putting livestock, wild game, even people at risk. But Wyoming appears to be alone in this stance. They've issued permits that could kill up to 22 bears. Idaho will only allow 1 grizzly to be killed, and Montana won't allow any at all.
The plan is solid, the population is solid, and I think that it's going to continue to be.
Wyoming hunters say hunting grizzly bears is their right, a statement about their way of life and something they've worked towards for 40 years, the last time there was a grizzly season here.